The Concorde was an English-French turbojet-powered supersonic airliner that flew between the years 1969 and 2003. I've always been interested in the design and making of things, and I also found out a few years ago that my great-granddad's brother was the flight engineer on the first British Concorde. In this short documentary, I'll be finding out from my mother about my great-granddad's brother, Dennis Ackary, who was a flight engineer on the first British Concorde. As a kid, I'd always play with my Legos, thinking that it was just a toy to play with. To me, it wasn't really a thing of I'm making something. It was just me enjoying myself. And later on in life, I realised that I really did enjoy making things and working out how things worked. So I chose to go to an engineering school. Going to this school opened up many chances for me to take into a path of engineering or into a path of computer-aided design. I could have done anything. One day I got picked to go on a surprise trip with a few people, and we got to go to the hangars of an aviation company, and we got to see how the engines were made, we got to see how the cockpit looked, we got to see how the plane looked stripped down with no seats, we got to see the inside of the cockpit, we got to see the mechanics on how the landing gear worked. It was really interesting. It was shortly after this that I found out that my great uncle Dennis was the engineer on the first British Concorde. It was actually quite fascinating to find out that we had someone in my family that had made an impact in aviation.
Dennis was my granddad's brother, so he would be my great uncle. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to meet Dennis. He passed away before I could meet him. I am, however, still in contact with his sons. Dennis was a flight engineer. So Dennis was one of the crew members on the Concorde 001 in 1972. He was the third crew member, which meant that he was responsible for making sure that the flight went well.
It was first of its kind, being a passenger airliner that flew faster than the speed of sound. The Concorde would fly at speeds of over 1,000 miles per hour. After complications in 2000, when an Air France Concorde flight crashed minutes after takeoff, passenger rates dropped drastically, causing maintenance costs to rise, and the companies were unable to afford to run the airliner. This caused the Concorde to retire in 2003. The Concorde was known for its record time flights. From London to New York took just 3.5 hours.